there's not really a specific, perfect example of this, okay? So I'm just trying to give you some ways to wrap your head around how we can look at the law in the Old Testament. This is a book. It is a military handbook. So if you were to try and make this analogy, say the law that we see in different scripture is kind of like a military manual. What do you got when you go into the military? You've got basic training. You have a set of rules and regulations and things like that that apply to basic training. And then you've got deployment. You've got a set of laws and rules, etc. And then you have active, when you're in active battle, when you're in combat, and then when you're in reserve. Now, the rules may be 4 different sections, and there's a couple of these principles that will always stay the same. If you're in war, it's still not going to change if you're in basic training. There's still things that apply to you. But when you're in combat, you will definitely have a complete different set of specific situational laws and rules that you have to do as opposed to when you're in basic training. Or, this amoeba is supposed to be the USA. So, if you live in the USA, right, federal, I believe, so you've got federal laws that pertain to the whole USA. No matter where you are in the US, they will apply. I mean, you could all call them principles. But if you're in a state, you're going to have a specific law. Different laws, different regulations. These principles will likely influence those laws, but specifically, right? So if the Hebrews are in the wilderness, if the Israelites have a tabernacle, right? If you've got these different things set up, if you were just in a position to where you have a temple and built and you have to do offerings and a sacrificial system and you've got movement and all that, blah, 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 right? You're going to have a different set of laws and regulations. And then you've got another one where these pictures, guys, I'm sorry about all this. So you could say it's a map. The law could be seen as kind of like a map, where it shows you kind of what's going on. It shows you where to go. It's got some lines you can follow. But you could say that you would really, to get the most out of this map, you would have to have a guide. So the Holy Spirit would be seen kind of as the guide, right? These are some examples to try and sort of grasp kind of the concept. God is above us. Partly why we have so many different arguments is because it's not just one. We like to pigeonhole God into like one, like law versus spirit, or law versus grace, or whatever, and or Old Testament or New Testament, or whatever, or Jesus' letter versus Paul's letter, or whatever. And in reality, a lot of it isn't. A lot of it is these principles followed by this, situational. I think when Pastor Craig was talking last week, he talked about David. And there was a couple times where David would be in an incredibly similar situation, maybe the same spot on the map, but then God, through the Spirit, said, do something different this time, though. It was the same spot, but he said, do something different. It was all on here, but the principle was to get to somewhere, so he didn't have to necessarily be as rigid. Now, that might not apply to everything, but I believe that applies to most everything.